Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
Chiefs win. Cry, Eagles, cry.
Great, excited to be back in the league.
You know, every day I got the Three Stooges in the studio with me is a good fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So let's make sure he gets that bag.
F-R-A-U-D-S, fries! Woo!
Justin's way ahead in picks. That's all that you need to fucking know.
Show's over.
Show's over. We're going home. I would like to welcome you back to another page of the Playbook Sports Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to 32 NFL offseasons in 32 days. Yesterday, we did the Chicago Bears, who have had a very solid offseason. Today, moving on to our seventh team in alphabetical order, the Cincinnati Bengals, fresh off of back-to-back AFC Championship games, 1 win, 1 loss. They've had a pretty solid offseason that they've had some good additions, but they've also had some tough losses that we'll talk about here. Looking at their additions, their big splash, what do the Bengals need to do? Protect Joe Burrow. So they go out and they get Orlando Brown Jr., who was a part of a Kansas City offensive line that was absolutely fantastic last season. I don't know why the Chiefs didn't bring him back. I'll talk about that in the Chiefs video down the road here. But I really like that addition. He'll be their starter day one at either right or left tackle, wherever they decide to play him, and he'll be dominant there. And I also like some low-key additions that they had. Irv Smith Jr., he will probably be their tight end one. I don't know why they didn't address that position in the draft, but we'll talk about it. And then Boogie Basham on the defensive line. I don't hate those. Obviously, the Bengals are making all of these moves with one eye on the future, recognizing that, hey, we're going to have to give Joe Burrow more money than Lamar Jackson just got, and Lamar Jackson just got $260 million over 5 seasons. So they have to save a little bit of cash, and this is a team that doesn't like to spend money historically. Their owner's pretty tight-fisted. Some key departures for the Bengals, all of them really come on the defensive side of the ball. Losing Jesse Bates was a tough one to swallow, but that was one of those ones where, like, when you have as much talent on your team as the Bengals have, and several of that players that are that talented aren't currently getting paid, and you'll need to pay them soon, eventually you're going to start to lose talent. Jesse Bates was the first one of those. He's been one of the best safeties in the league for several seasons, so losing him is a tough one to go to Atlanta. And then losing his running mate in Von Bell, both of their starting safeties gone this offseason. That is a tough hole to fill. And then they also lost Trey Flowers to a decent-sized deal. He was one of their better corners. It just means an even larger role for Eli Apple next season. So the Bengals, with their losses, their defense hurts. They can go toe-to-toe with anybody offensively. I think they're one of the most explosive teams offensively. The weapons that they have in Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, adding Chase Brown, who we'll talk about shortly here, and then obviously Joe Burrow with the keys to the car. I mean, they're going to be able to put up a mad amount of points. The question is going to be, are they going to be able to stop people from putting up a mad amount of points? And they did a very good job addressing this in the draft. The Bengals are so damn lucky with how this draft fell because need and best player available seemed to meet every single pick that they made. I think it was very, very good. Pick number 28, getting Myles Murphy. That's awesome value. Early in the mock draft season, he was considered a top 10 draft pick. Slam dunk, lock it in. He's going top 10. To get him at pick number 28 is very, very good value. He'll start for them right away on that defensive line and be very, very solid. Their second round pick, I'm a big fan of this guy, DJ Turner out of Michigan. This guy, fellas, everybody, his combine was insane. I can't even talk. His combine was so good. He ran a 4.26 40, especially when you consider the fact that the combine cornerbacks that performed there did not do so well testing-wise. And then this guy comes in and runs a 4.26 40 and a 1.46 10-yard split. Absolutely insane. That just shows how explosive he is and how much of a great athlete he is. He's a little bit raw, a little handsy, but he's got the physical tools are all there, and he's going to be a stud. And then in the third, so they just replaced, Trey Flowers replaced. And then in the third round, Jordan Battle falling to them, man, safety out of Alabama. I love that pick. If you have the opportunity to draft an Alabama safety, you do it because they come into the league ready to party. He can't replace Jesse Bates year one. There's just no way, but he's a great start to help rebuilding that secondary that just has been hurt. And then I think one of their better value picks, who I mentioned earlier, Chase Brown in the 5th round. I mean, they just lost Samaje Perine, who had a pretty sizable role in their offense last season, and who knows what the hell's going on with Joe Mixon. So Brown was really, really good at Illinois, and I think he'll transition well into the NFL. I think he'll be really solid. Guys, I love the Bengals draft. This is going to be first of the series, first A-plus draft that I've given out. I like everything that they did. Some of their later picks, they were just building depth, but they had obvious plans. Okay, our defense needs help, and they did it. They let the pricey free agents go. They brought in these rookies who are going to grow with them and be really solid, and they're going to get to play with the lead more often than not. A-plus draft, you guys. That was fantastic from the Bengals. Now, as far as their overall offseason goes, I'm giving them an A-minus and that's going to happen when you have this much talent on a team and you have to start paying all of these guys. You're going to lose talent, and it's going to be a hard pill to swallow. Losing Jesse Bates and Von Bell, that is painful. So I can't give them an A-plus for their whole offseason. And yes, I like that they replaced them, but like I said, they're rookies. They need time. But having Orlando Brown Jr. on the offensive line is an awesome addition. I give them an A- for their overall off-season grade. And again, they're already one of the top 2 teams in the AFC between them and the Chiefs. And honestly, they've kind of owned the Chiefs outside of this past year's AFC Championship game. So they didn't need to do a whole lot to stay there. They at least maintained. They didn't lose a ton of talent and just not replace it. If they didn't draft Jordan Battle, we'd be having a different conversation. If they didn't draft DJ Turner, different conversation. But they drafted for need, and those players were more often than not the best player available. So I really like what they did. A- offseason. And then obviously the Bengals definitely believe themselves to be competing right now for a Super Bowl, seeing as how they just played in the Super Bowl a season ago. Not this past one, but the one before, obviously. I consider them a top 3 team in the NFL. As long as Joe Burrow is playing football for the Cincinnati Bengals, they are going to compete. So that's what I've got for you guys on the Cincinnati Bengals offseason. Very well done by them. Once again, they're just starting to get annoying in the fact that they continually crush things. They're going to be a pain in the side of anybody who plays them for years and years to come. So that's day number 7 of 32 NFL offseasons in 32 days, and we'll be back at it tomorrow with day number 8 and the Cleveland Browns.